A cold wind moved across the open lawn of the Riverstone Gardens, the kind of place where weddings happened and hearts often broke in silence. But on this afternoon in North Carolina, the wind carried something different. An ache, a decision, and a woman who had finally run out of reasons to stay silent. Addison stood near the white flower arch with her hands trembling, trying to understand how her world had fallen apart in just a few hours. Behind her, the man she once trusted was laughing with someone new, unaware of the hurricane he had created inside her. And beside her stood Rowan, a stranger, almost, yet the only person who looked at her as if she mattered. The moment Addison whispered her plea to him, a plea born from hurt and desperation, something shifted in the air, something that would change both of their lives forever. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and unexpected miracles, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support helps these stories reach more hearts. Addison had not planned on being here today. She had promised herself she would never step foot into anything that reminded her of Aaron again. But she came because her best friend needed her, and she had no idea he would be here. Aaron, the man who promised her everything and gave her nothing but memories that felt like bruises. A year ago, he had left her without reason, drifting out of her life quietly, like a man who didn't want to disturb the pieces of someone he had already broken. Now he stood across the lawn in a perfect navy suit, laughing with a woman who looked exactly like the kind of person he always wanted her to become. Elegant, composed, silent. Addison felt her chest tighten, not because she still wanted him, but because she suddenly realized how much she had changed, and how much he hadn't. She wouldn't have noticed Rowan if he hadn't approached her with that gentle look in his eyes, the one that felt like a question and a reassurance at the same time. He was tall, with warm hazel eyes, and that calm presence that made the world slow down for a moment. He wasn't dressed like someone attending a fancy event. He wore a simple gray t-shirt, like a man who came because he promised someone he would, not because he belonged here. He carried the quiet confidence of someone who had been through life's storms before and knew how to survive them. She didn't know why she told him everything, how Aaron had left, how she had fought to forget, how standing here felt like stepping inside her own grave. But she did. Maybe because Rowan listened without trying to fix her, without pretending he had the answers. That was why, when Aaron finally looked over with a cold, curious expression, Addison felt a wave of heat flood through her cheeks. Instinctively, painfully, she whispered the words that slipped out before she could stop them. She wasn't thinking about consequences, about what it meant, about how childish or wild it sounded. She just knew she didn't want Aaron to think he still had the power to hurt her. She didn't want to walk away feeling small again. Rowan studied her face carefully, and for a moment Addison braced herself for rejection. She had given him an impossible request, one no stranger should have to fulfill. But Rowan didn't step back. He didn't laugh. He didn't ask why. Instead, he took a slow breath like a man who understood exactly what she needed, something deeper than a kiss. He moved closer, not with the urgency of someone pretending, but with a gentleness that told her she wasn't a game, not a performance, not a weapon for jealousy. Rowan lifted her trembling hand first, brushing his thumb across her knuckles. Addison felt her heart stutter. She didn't know why the small gesture felt more intimate than anything Aaron ever did. Maybe because Rowan wasn't doing this for himself. Maybe because he wanted her to feel chosen, not used. The world around them blurred as he leaned in, letting their foreheads touch gently before giving her a moment to breathe, a moment to decide whether she truly wanted this. When she didn't pull away, he kissed her with a softness that felt like the beginning of healing rather than a moment of revenge. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't loud. It wasn't the kind of kiss meant to be seen. It was the kind that made Addison close her eyes because for the first time in months, something inside her felt alive again. But fate, cruel and ironic, made Aaron look at them exactly in that moment. She felt the moment he noticed, his stiffened posture, the confusion on his face, the bitterness he tried to hide. And for the first time, Addison didn't feel pain. She felt free. Rowan stepped back slowly, giving her that quiet space again, as though he respected the storm she was trying to walk out of. She expected the moment to end there, expected him to apologize for overstepping. But he didn't. His voice was calm, steady, almost protective as he told her that she deserved much more than trying to make someone jealous. She deserved someone who wouldn't run, who wouldn't disappear, who wouldn't let her feel unworthy again. Addison felt her throat tighten, because deep inside, she knew he was right. The rest of the event unfolded like a faint memory. She didn't glance at Aaron again. Instead, she and Rowan walked through the gardens, talking about everything except pain. He told her about his work as a physical therapist, how he loved helping people rebuild their lives. She told him about her job in graphic design, how peaceful it felt to create something that didn't judge her, didn't leave her. Rowan listened with genuine interest, not the forced attentiveness she used to mistake for love. The sun slowly dipped behind the trees, and the soft evening light painted everything golden except Addison, who still carried the weight of her past. When the music faded and guests began leaving, Addison suddenly felt nervous. What if this connection was just temporary? What if Rowan had only helped her out of kindness and would disappear like everyone else? She didn't want to ask. She didn't want to ruin the peace he had given her today. But Rowan had watched her carefully long enough to read the fear in her eyes. He told her, in his own calm way, that he didn't help her because she was broken. He helped her because he saw her strength, the kind people overlook because they only see the smile, not the battles behind it. That was when Addison felt something warm slip into her chest, a feeling she hadn't let herself experience since her last heartbreak. Hope. Weeks passed and Rowan didn't vanish. He called. He showed up. He asked her how she felt, not what she could do for him. Their long walks by the lake turned into late-night conversations about faith, dreams, and second chances. Rowan was patient, allowing her to rediscover herself at her own pace. When he finally told her that the day she asked him for that kiss was the day he realized she had been walking alone for far too long, Addison burst into tears, not because she was sad, but because someone finally saw her without trying to fix or change her. Healing wasn't instant. Some nights she questioned everything. Some mornings she remembered the ache of being left behind. But Rowan stayed. Not to rescue her, not to rewrite her past, but to remind her that she was worth choosing every single day. Months later, when they stood in the same gardens again, this time with clearer skies and steadier hearts, Addison realized the truth she had been avoiding. Rowan had given her more than a kiss, more than protection, more than comfort. He had given her a new beginning. If this story touched your heart even a little, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support keeps these emotional stories alive. Before you go, tell us in the comments, do you believe that strangers can sometimes heal us more deeply than the people we once loved?